He says, please correct me if I am wrong. I have come to understand that the covenants of God are not time-bound. Okay? Therefore, an Orthodox Jew today who is trying to observe and obey the Torah can still be living under the old covenant. And that equals not saved. If he doesn't see and trust by faith Yeshua in the Torah. Meanwhile, Abraham, David, and Moses, who lived thousands of years ago, but through faith understood in some way who and what the Torah was pointing to, were living in the new covenant. Okay, so let's just, yes. So thus far, Stephen is correct. I believe that the covenants are not time bound. And this actually runs into some problems a little bit for people when we say that the Mosaic law or the Mosaic covenant is not time bound either. Of course, most modern Christians today believe that parts of the law were time bound until Christ came along. Dr. Walter Kaiser has coined a term, built-in obsolescence. Rob and I do not believe in
like when you buy a refrigerator these days, or, yes. or a new phone.
Yes, built-in obsolescence. Exactly.
In 2 years, you're going to have to.
Yeah, exactly. But that's not the way. Now, this is actually where I'm going to agree with Dr. Kaiser. There are some things in the Torah that had built-in obsolescence. And this is actually a problem for people who, a lot of people who believe in one Torah or are pronomian Christians tend to want to shy away from this fact. We do see built-in obsolescence in the Torah. For instance, the tabernacle, all of the laws that pertain to the tabernacle in terms of tearing it down, putting it back up, moving it, all these things essentially are now obsolete. And why are they obsolete? They are obsolete because God promised that he would put his eyes and his ears someplace, and that there would be one specific place where all of this would take place. And certainly he did. And that was on the Temple Mount, and the temple was built. And this is the only place. And so we don't revert back to the tent of meeting. That is now now I don't actually like the term obsolete because so let's just real quick. This is a rabbit trail like nobody's business. Let's just go real quick to 2 Timothy 3:16 and following. He says, all scripture is breathed out by God and profitable for teaching, for reproof, for correction, and for training in righteousness. Okay, so obviously when we look at things like the tabernacle, that means that we should be able to learn something, teach something, correct people with those things. Now we see Christ doing this, right? Is it Christ? Hang on, let me think of what analogy I'm going to use. When it says, Paul uses it when he says that he's talking about teachers being paid, and he uses a command from the Torah.
Priesthood.
Well, he uses a command from the Torah that you should not muzzle the ox while it treads. This is a point that my Old Testament prof made. That he uses, my Old Testament prof says, well, in my day and age, I look at the command to not muzzle an ox when it treads, and I think, well, that's great for them, but I don't have an ox. I don't, that was great for them back then, and maybe for some farmers today, but that's not even how they do things anymore. So this is obsolete, but it's not obsolete because Paul takes that command and he applies it to a modern day situation that everyone in the church should be able to understand. So he does do the priesthood as well, that they participate in the right,
altar. Yeah. Right,
yeah, exactly. And so the all of this to say, Walter Kaiser, who I fully respect. He is an unbelievable Old Testament scholar. He's one of the best today, I think. But his term, built-in obsolescence, meaning that the commands of Torah become obsolete. I actually don't like this term. I would say that their main function may not serve the function that they have. In other words, the priest carrying this part of the tabernacle may not apply today, but we can still learn something from it, and we can still teach from it. All of that to say. Okay. Thank you so much for watching this video. Tell us your thoughts on this subject by leaving a comment in the comment section. Make sure you like, share, subscribe, and enable those notifications. And we'll see you in the next video.